Evening, folks. Can you all hear me? Good evening. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. I guess we're going to talk trash tonight, huh? But I'm so glad to see all of you. We had some legislation that came out recently that impacts the city and the residents of Villa Park. So what we wanted to do tonight was talk to you a little bit about the rules that came out, some of the things that you can do, and hopefully it'll make life easy for you, because I'm sure there's a lot of questions around how do we do this, how do we take care of our trash and so forth and so on. This has to do with food recycling. So we have a great staff of people here tonight from both our partner, Republic, as well as our city staff, who are going to take you through the rules and so forth, tell you how to dispense of your trash and so forth, so that you know. And so, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Kim, and Kate, and ask them to present to you the new rules and so forth. If you don't mind, leave your questions till the end. Let them get through the presentation, share it with you, and then feel free, because we're going to open it up, and we'll stay here for a while and make sure all of your questions are answered. Okay? So we appreciate you coming. Thank you so much, and look forward to it.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? Again, my name is Kate. I am with Republic Services. I am happy to be here tonight to present to you more about this organic recycling, recycling in general, and then answer your questions, which I'm sure there is a few. We have a section about frequently asked questions, questions that we've heard from other residents in other cities that we'll address first. Maybe that'll answer some of your questions, and if not, we'll have a question and answer portion at the end. So without further ado, we'll jump on in. So first, I wanted to give a little bit of a background on the regulatory requirements, where this is coming from, kind of what brought us to this point. So next slide. So right now, the law that we are working with is SB 1383. That is the one that is requiring organic recycling at your homes, as well as any businesses in the community. But to go back to kind of what brought us to that, we wanted to briefly mention some other notable solid waste legislation, starting with Assembly Bill 393, which took place in the late 80s. That is the bill that brought you the 3 collection system that you're used to at home. So that introduced recycling and yard waste recycling at your homes. So that's kind of what we call the grandfather of recycling laws. From there, we went on to Assembly Bill 341, which is more recent. That was in 2012. And that law required recycling at commercial properties. So that is a law that's been around for a long time, but not all businesses currently have recycling on board. So we are adding to that in 2016. Assembly Bill 1826 that introduced organic recycling at commercial businesses. So right now, with the addition of SB 1383, all properties have to have all 3 containers on their property. Businesses, residents have to have both recycling and organics recycling. We're going to get into that a little bit more in the coming slides, but that just kind of gives you a background that this has been going on for quite some time. This isn't new, whereas SB 1383 is relatively new to us. In the background, it has been going on for quite some time. Next slide. So to talk a little bit more about SB 1383, which is the short-lived Climate Pollution Reduction Act, and that we want to talk about the why. So why did this law come about? The goals of the law. So the goals are going to be to reduce the production of methane gas in the landfill. When organic material is placed into the landfill, methane gas is released. So there has been a huge initiative on behalf of our state to reduce this methane gas, and this is one of the ways that we're doing that. So we want to divert organic material from the landfill to produce compost or renewable energy. So rather than having that sit in the landfill and decompose and produce this methane gas, we're going to use it for good. We're going to produce some compost and or reuse renewable energy. The other portion of this law, which is not applicable to residents necessarily, but to food generating businesses, is to recover edible food. So we don't want edible food going into the trash cans and therefore into the landfill. Therefore, there is a portion of the law that requires businesses to donate their edible food. So any business that is getting rid of any food that can be used to feed those that need food, it will be diverted in that way. So that is a really feel-good portion of this law that all businesses that are producing any edible food will have to be a part of and get into compliance with. Additionally, this law mandates that all solid waste generators divert organic waste from the landfill. So that all is underlined there. That includes residents, businesses, multifamily properties. Everybody has to have to be diverting organic materials. So we're going to get into talking about what is organic materials so that we can kind of understand what's going to go in what containers at home.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to be talking about some of the requirements that the City of Villa Park falls under with SB 1383. One of those is providing yard and food waste recycling services to all Villa Park residents and businesses. So this doesn't just affect residential, it's commercial as well. We also had to adopt a local ordinance that enforces the law. We have to do things like conduct public education and outreach, similar to what we're doing right now. Also, as Kate mentioned, establish an edible food recovery program. That means the businesses that you see here will sign up for a service that will help them, divert some of their food at the end of the night. One example that I always think about is Subway. They bake their bread fresh every day, but all of it goes in the trash at night. So an edible food recovery program would be great for a place like Subway where they can take that bread, bring it somewhere else, and it's not being wasted. Another thing is implementing inspection and compliance programs, which we will touch on that later. I know a lot of people might have questions about that. And then the same thing as imposing penalties for noncompliance, and we'll also touch on that a little bit at the end of this too. So that's what's required from us as the city.
All right, so now we're going to get into what is organic waste, exactly what we are need to be diverting from our black trash, or I'm sorry, here we have the tan trash cans into the green or the brown trash cans. So first we're going to start with the definition of the of organic materials from the state law. The state law states organic waste includes food, green material, landscape, and pruning waste, organic textiles and carpets, lumber, wood, paper products, printing, and writing paper. The main portion that I wanted to point out in this section, in this definition, is that when we're talking about organic materials, we're not just talking about food waste. We're not just talking about the yard waste that's going to be going into your organics bin. We're also talking about paper products because those are considered organic materials. Whereas those materials are going to continue to go into your green recycling trash can, I just want to mention that those are considered organic materials, and it is required by law to divert those from our trash cans. So we've been putting all of those products into our green recycling bin for quite some time, so you'll continue to do that. But I did just want to mention that portion of it as well. For the sake of this meeting, we're talking more specifically about the organic materials that are going into your yard waste container, because that's the biggest change that we've noticed, in our communities. So we'll talk a little bit in more detail on that in the coming slides. So what type of organic waste are collected in my residential organics cart? So your carts are brown, and up until this point, we've been putting all of our yard waste into those carts. Your landscape debris, pruning waste, cotton textiles is on there. That's kind of a new portion of the law. but that is just 100% cotton. So that's something that we're not really monitoring too closely, but it is a portion of the law. But for the most part, we just want to mention that all of your yard waste is going to continue to go into your brown container. In addition to that, as part of SB 1383, you'll now be putting all of your food products into the containers. So that's going to include your fruit and vegetable scraps, any leftovers, meats, bones. And I know that's something that a lot of people have questions about because in a normal backyard composting process, you normally wouldn't put those items into your compost pile. However, we're processing this on a very, very large scale. So it is okay to put meat, bones, citrus, onions, things that you wouldn't normally put into your backyard compost. You are okay to put those into your brown yard waste cart for us to process. In addition, we want to mention that food soiled paper products can also go into your brown yard waste cart. So those are going to be things like paper napkins, paper towels, even greasy pizza boxes can now go into your brown yard waste cart. I'd like to mention again, as we were talking about the paper products, if it's a clean paper product, that can be recycled and manufactured into other paper products. So that can continue to go into your recycling cart. But if it is food soiled, like a napkin or a paper towel, that can now go into your yard waste cart because that will be processed into compost. So want to talk about how to separate food waste. And this is something I enjoy talking about because it's something that I'm doing at my home as well. I live in a city that also has an SB 1383 program. So my family has been learning how to do this and figuring it out. So I'm happy to provide you with what's worked at my house, and hopefully that will help you as you make this transition to separating your food waste. It's not a perfect solution. Doesn't work for everybody, but I can give you kind of my experience as well as some tips and tricks that some other residents have shared with us. So as far as separating your kitchen scraps, like this picture shows here, I have a compost bin that just sits on my counter when I'm making dinner or doing dishes. I just scrape all of the food waste right into that container. I personally don't use a bag at home. The only bags that you would be able to use in this process would be a brown paper product, or it doesn't have to be brown, but any sort of paper bag. No plastic bags can be used. Even if it says it's compostable or biodegradable, they cannot be used in this process. That is a question we get asked all the time, and we are going to address that. So I'll give you the why behind that in just a little bit. But the main thing is that just separate anything that you would normally put into your black trash can as regards to any sort of food waste can now go into a bin that you have or a paper bag or something like that so that you can go ahead and take it out to your yard waste cart, which is the next slide. Go ahead and place those kitchen scraps right into your brown container. Again, no plastic bags, no compostable bags in this process. They just go right into your container for us to pick up on your regular collection day. So like I said, we've put together some best practices for cart cleanliness. This isn't a perfect process. There is some amount of, kind of yucky food waste that gets onto the carts. But these are some of the ideas that we've come up with. We've heard from residents, or like I said, I'm using myself at home. So you can use cardboard or newspaper at the bottom of your cart to kind of soak up some of those liquids from the food waste that's going to go into the cart. You can alternate layers of yard waste or food waste. This is what I do. I use my grass clippings kind of on the bottom, throw some of my food waste on top, and then put some grass on top if you have that. Or, you can use leaves, other types of yard waste trimmings. Just kind of helps bury the food waste in there. Keep the cart in the shade when it's possible. Obviously, we live in warm Southern California for a reason. So sometimes that's a little bit challenging, but if you can keep your cart in the shade, that'll help a little. If possible, keep food scraps in the freezer or refrigerator until collection day. I've heard this from a lot of people, and this actually is a way that a lot of people were actually separating their food scraps already, even just when they were throwing it into the trash can, which I didn't really know about. So if possible, if you have a container that you can keep in your refrigerator or your freezer, you can keep your food scraps in there and then just take it out on the day of collection or the night before. So that's the same thing as the next one. Additional tips and tricks. So if you are using a countertop container like I mentioned, you can line that container with newspaper or you can use a paper bag. Baking soda or even essential oils can help neutralize the smells. The container that I use at home has a carbon fiber filter in it, and that seems to help a lot. So that's an option. There's a lot of these types of containers on the market. I've seen them at Home Depot, at Walmart, online, Amazon. You can get just about anything. And then additionally, just keep your cart lid securely shut to guard from pests and insects. I've also heard people putting some sort of like insect repellent on the inside of their lid. That might help. Spraying with apple cider vinegar may help. So just talk to your neighbors, find out what they're doing. Get on discussion boards. There's a lot of people that are doing this. Villa Park is not the only city that is doing it. Every state or every city in California will have to do this. So if other cities, neighboring cities aren't doing it yet, they will. Their cities are most likely under negotiations trying to figure out how to roll this out. We have several cities in our division that have rolled these out already. Villa Park is not the first, kind of in the middle. So yeah, we'll get more and more tips and tricks. And if you guys have anything, we'd love to hear some ideas of what you're doing.
Okay, so this is a question that we've been getting a lot inside of City Hall, and that's why should we participate in the organics program? So the reason why we should participate is because, as a lot of people know, the landfills are filling up. For example, our local landfill, the Olinda Alpha, only has enough projected capacity to serve residents and businesses until 2030. Additionally, organic materials account for about a third of our waste. Organic waste that goes to the landfill, it generates methane, which has heat trapping effects, and it's about 80 times greater than carbon monoxide over a 20-year timeline. So if everyone did their part in the United States as a whole and composted their food waste, the impact would be equivalent to removing 7.8 million cars from the road. Composted organic waste has many environmental benefits. It's a soil additive. It reduces the need for chemical fertilizers, improving soil water retention, and assisting in erosion control. Recycled organic material can also be used for a biofuel, and it's a renewable natural gas. So there's a lot of good reasons why we should participate in this program. It's not just another rule that we have to follow. It really is doing good, and if we all do our part and participate, we will, I hate to say this, like I sound like I'm at Disneyland, but we'll make the planet a better place.
My son had a book that said, "What if everyone did that?" And it's something that I reference often because whereas it may not seem like you're doing much, but even if you do a little bit, if everybody did that, it would make a big difference. Right. So we're really glad to have Villa Park participating in this program and making a difference. So we're going to jump into those frequently asked questions that we talked about, and then after that we'll open it up so that you guys can get your questions answered as well. Okay, so the first question is, why do we need to do this? And the answer is, it's a state law. But above and beyond that, all of those reasons that Kim just mentioned, it really does make a difference. The reason behind the law is, the landfills are filling up. We need to limit methane into our environment. So that is why we want to participate, but the reason that we need to participate is because the state requires us to do that.
Okay, so how will this affect your trash bill? Costs for residential program are already included in your trash bill. The new trash rates were negotiated between us and Republic Services, and they went into effect on January 1st, 2023. The impact to commercial customers here will depend on service level and service types. Businesses can request Republic Services to help with the right sizing and all of the kind of service needs that they individually need. We have some space issues here, so we'll be working with the businesses on that. And, new trash rates for commercial customers, that will take effect on April 1st, so we're still kind of figuring that one out. But as of right now, the residential rates are in effect.
All right, so this is a very hot question. Why can't I place plastic or compostable bags in the organics cart? And the main reason is because although the bags break down eventually in the right circumstances through our compost process, they do not break down fast enough. So what would happen if you put your compostable or biodegradable bags into our process is we would be left with a giant pile of ready-to-go compost with little pieces of plastic that are not broken down. I hope eventually that the bags will be better and that our processing will be able to accept them. But for right now, the way that the process is for processing the compost that comes directly from your brown carts, it's just not reasonable to accept them right now because we don't have anybody that's physically picking out the plastic bags. On the commercial end, we do accept plastic bags because that food waste only, not mixed with green waste, is processed very differently, and those bags are able to be pulled out. So at this point, the only bags that are acceptable in this program are going to be paper bags.
Okay, so this is another question that we get pretty often in City Hall, and that is, what if my organics cart gets dirty or smelly? Will it attract pests, insects? So these are just some tips and recommendations to help you, with those potential issues with odors, pets, insects, other vectors. So if possible, place your food scraps in your cart the night before collection day. Food scraps can be stored in a countertop container, as Kate kind of mentioned what she does at home, the kitchen pail, refrigerator or freezer until it's time to take it out to your cart. You can also keep your organics cart in the shade when it's warm outside. That helps. And also layers of the yard waste and paper and the food waste kind of helps diminish that. So always ensure if your cart is damaged or if you want to ensure that your cart is undamaged and the lid stays securely shut. And if it is damaged or if there's anything that needs replacement, just give Republic Services a call. They will replace damaged carts. And you can always call Republic Services to request that they clean your curbside carts for an additional fee too.
And I was always thinking about work, driving along, and I saw not that I'm trying to take away from Republic, but because we will clean your carts if you need it, there is an additional fee. But there is another company, an outside company, that has started to do this. They've caught on. So there are additional ways to get your carts cleaned. This truck was really cool. It had 2 grabbers on the back. And so they'll come pick up your cart, steam clean them, and then leave them for you. So just another option to be thinking about, especially during the summer months. Okay, so what if I accidentally place materials in the wrong container? So this right now, the law is new. We're all kind of in an educational period. So for right now, we want to work together and try to, do things like this so you can understand what goes in the carts, get you some educational materials. We have stickers that can go on your cart lids that'll help you kind of point you in the right direction. Eventually, there will be some sort of monitoring as required by the law to help ensure that people are placing the right materials in the right bins. That will not start until 2024, and a representative from Republic Services will go out, take a peek in your bins, and then offer feedback on what was in there. So on the residential end, there will be 3 warning notices prior to any fees being issued, and we'll also include some educational materials for what we found in the cart so that you can, kind of remind yourself of what actually goes in there. And that is a significant amount, so it's about 10%. So we're not looking for one, soda can in the wrong container. We're really looking for very obvious contamination, like, okay, this person doesn't understand that plastic bags cannot go into the organic. So we'll leave a little note that says no plastic bags. And again, you'll get 3 times before any fees are issued. And that is not going to start until, again, 2024. So we're in that educational period right now.
Okay, so what happens if I do not comply? So starting in 2024, the City of Villa Park does have the ability to pursue penalties for noncompliance with the requirements of SB 1383. This is separate from the fees that were just described by Kate as regards to accidentally placing them in the wrong container. In addition to reducing the environmental pollutants, this is another reason why it's really important to start developing a routine. And even if you start small, it's better than nothing. I kind of started with banana peels at home, and then I worked my way to eggshells, and now I'm doing a lot more. I'm filling up a lot. So it really is just kind of starting small and seeing how it goes, and then working your way up to where you are in full compliance and you don't have to worry about any of the stuff that we're saying. So with that, I think we'll start opening it up. Our mayor here.
Before we, I want to interject something.
Sure.
For everyone's knowledge, we talked about cost. I hate these things. Our city staff worked really hard to come up with a solution with Republic in concert with them to be the lowest cost alternative for you in this regard, because we were looking at several options, and some of them were very, very costly for homeowners to endure as a result of this, like separate trucks, separate containers, separate everything. And the city staff has worked really hard to come up with this in solution with our partner to give you the least cost route for this recycling. So I just wanted to bring that up so you wouldn't think that we just picked something and did it. There was a lot of thought that went into it, and Steve and his staff did a lot of work to bring this to fruition. So without further ado, questions?
Just a question about the trash bill. Is it or is it not going to go up?
Your trash bill will go up just a little bit. That took place January 1st.
January 1st.
Yeah.
Sure.
How much is a little bit?
It depends on your level of service, how many bins that you have. I mean,
if you
it's
have extra carts.
yeah, it's you might want to just look at the bill or call Republic Services. I can't give you a definite number. Everybody will be different depending on what they have. But I would depend, I would guess.
Yeah, so at the in the back, I have the cards back there that have the customer service number, and you're welcome to call. Otherwise, you'll notice, you can take a look on your bill. I can't remember, are you guys billed quarterly or monthly?
Quarterly.
Quarterly, okay. So your next bill will come out in March, is that right? Or did you just get it? Yeah, okay. So yeah, you can compare on your next bill. Or you can call into our customer service and they can let you know what it is. Yeah. You know that it's funny, we don't have like the water district here. They would probably say they would not like it to be used very, very much. But that's up to you, how you use your garbage disposal. You have an option now, right? So you have a spot that you can put it. You can put all of the food waste into the yard waste cart. Can't speak to the water district and know what they would say about that, but.
Hello. Kate, just wanted to ask what you're using a compost bin, or is that what you call it? Any recommendations, or you have experience with it?
I've seen some really cute ones depending on your style of your kitchen. Mine's a stainless steel bin. It looks like something that Oscar the Grouch would jump out of. But again, it seals, which I really like, and it has that carbon fiber filter that I can replace. I talk to people and I'm like, oh my gosh, my kitchen's gonna smell. And I'm like, I don't think my kitchen smells. So I do ask people, do you smell my food waste in here? And they don't. So I'm really happy with mine. I got it on Amazon. Again, it just looks like Oscar the Grouch is gonna jump out at me, but. So I was just going to say, yeah, if you guys if you don't have questions about organics, we're happy to answer questions about recycling because there's lots about that. Is it same? Oh yeah, we'll keep going. But so to answer the question about plastics, are we talking about like flexible plastic, like bags? So there's, right, okay, gotcha. So there is, plastics there's a lot of plastics that say they're recyclable, and they are in certain facilities. In your curbside program, primarily what we're looking for or what we can accept and what we can process are gonna be plastic bottles and jugs. Anything that's flexible plastic, any plastic bags, chip bags, things like that are not recyclable in your curbside program. A lot of the big box stores, Ralph's, Home Depot, some Walmarts have them, will have a box outside that will say it's for your plastic bags. Those things can go in there, but if it is not, usually 1s, 2s, and 5s are the plastics that are recyclable in your curbside program. And those are the numbers that you'll see on there, and those can be put into your green trash can. If it's not that, it should go into your black, into your trash. Which is why it's important to pay attention to what we're buying. Look at things and notice things, and it's not like we're gonna, stop using all of these things right off the bat, but it is important to pay attention to packaging and to kind of make informative decisions about what you're buying, knowing that some of those things are not going to be recycled. We had another organics? Oh, okay. I'd love to take a look at it. Yeah, I can take a look at it. It really depends. Those numbers can change based on, what manufacturers are using to make new products. So it is kind of a fluid process. But for the most part, if it's a harder plastic, your laundry detergent, your shampoo bottles, things like that, those can be recycled into your green container as long as they're empty, clean, and dry. Yes, sir.
Previous service said to throw
Palm frond?
into the trash
Yes.
because they didn't break down.
Yes. So I just recently went to the composting facility, and I asked specifically that because I have palms in my yard. And the deal is they are very, very fibrous, and it takes a lot of effort for those to break down. Eventually they will. So they can go into your green if it fits. I wouldn't recommend putting a ton of them. It's one of those things. I'm an environmentalist, and I would love to say put them into your brown cart because eventually they're going to break down. But for the most part, it takes so much effort that we would probably prefer that they go into the black. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What do you guys call it? Tan. Okay. I asked someone recently, a Villa Park resident, and she said, I think it's ecru. And so I love that so much. So I'm like, the ecru cart. So the tan, yeah. Tan, pinky beige. Okay, flesh colored. Tan, okay, no. All right, what else do we have? Any other questions about, yes, sir.
Closed cell packaging blocks, rigid blocks of packaging,
Like styrofoam?
not styrofoam, closed cell.
Closed cell. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that. Okay, I'm gonna have to do some research. Is it a plastic type?
Yes.
Okay. Plastic. Nikki does.
Comes in sheets, which would be flexible,
Right. Okay.
but
Are
it
you
also comes in blocks.
okay? Mike, Nikki, anyone familiar with this? I without knowing. So here's the deal. People will tell me all the time, oh, recycling is kind of hard to figure out what's recycling. But what I tell people is stick with the main 5, and everything else should go into your trash. The main 5 are going to be cardboard, paper, plastic, bottles and jugs, metal, and glass. All of those items can go into your recycle bin. If it's not one of those things, or it's mixed, or you're questioning, put it into your black. Those 5 things will get recycled all the time. Oh, tan. Sorry, guys. Broken glass can go into the recycling. So the bottom line is that when glass gets recycled, it's going to break, right? When you throw it, when it goes from your cart into our truck and then onto our line, it's most likely going to break. So when we recycle glass, it's all that broken glass all mixed together. If you want your wine bottles to have a second life, or your drink containers to have a second life, they would have to go to a recycling facility, because the manufacturers of these glass bottles want them to be the correct color. So, if you have a wine bottle that is a certain shade of green, they don't want it mixed with brown glass, because that's not going to produce the bottle color that they want. So when it's all mixed together, primarily broken glass is used for things like asphalt. Some carpet manufacturers use it for certain products. So it does get recycled, but to have it have another life as another bottle, it has to be separated by the color that it is. me. As Republic Services would be happy to take it in your curbside cart. Kate Schlenz would love for everybody to take it to a recycling facility so that it can be used. If it's full, I'll help you empty it, and then we can recycle it. Light bulbs are hazardous waste, so they would have to go to a hazardous waste facility. The closest one to here is near our yard on La Palma and Blue Gum, and it's a really easy process. Save up your batteries, your light bulbs, your paint, all of that stuff, throw it in your trunk, and you just drive through. They'll take it out of your car for you, and you'll be on your way within 15 minutes. And what are their days and hours? They are Tuesday.
Saturday 9 or no, 10 to 3 or something.
Yeah.
If everyone heard that, or everyone watching from home, Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 3.
Yeah. And not in the rain? Yes. There's if you go to oclandfills.com, there's a phone number, and they answer the phone. They're really good. If you have questions about what you can take there, they're really great. Otherwise, it's listed on the website as well. Blue Gum, it's La Palma and Blue Gum, which is right near our facility in Anaheim. So you can come say hi to us too. Yes?
So, you talked about the methane gas,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I don't understand what the difference is between putting the food scraps in the recycle bin, the food recycling bin, to go and, or in the non-recycle bin, to go someplace and be processed, or putting it in my garden. There's still gonna be methane gas released, right?
Nikki, do you have?
When it breaks down in the landfill, it's broken down without the presence of oxygen, and so that's what turns it into methane. The way it's broken down turns into methane. When it's broken down with the presence of air, it can break down into smaller components, like carbon and oxygen and all that. Carbon more specifically, but yeah, so it breaks down differently and more naturally that way. It can be reused rather than saving as gas.
Perfect. Thank you, Nikki. Yes.
You mentioned about when our container broken or need to replace, give you guys a call. You guys will come out and replace it. I don't know. All the Philippa residents, personally, I have dealt with that.
Okay.
I had to call multiple times.
Okay.
And also, your company never really give us or give me, we will come out at this date, just leave it out. It's always, leave it out, we will come. So it will be 1 week, 2 weeks, I got called multiple times.
Okay.
I don't know how our residents feel.
Yeah.
I think
Was
that
this recently?
This is not recently,
Okay.
but it's
Yeah.
still I can hear from other residents.
Yeah.
From
Understand.
my neighbors, like, his car's been out for weeks. It's to the point that he doesn't even want to call because you guys constantly give out empty promises.
Got
to
it.
them.
Okay.
I think it's not okay.
Yeah,
So how can
absolutely.
we
It's
fix that?
Yeah, that's definitely something, service issues is something that we're always trying to address and always trying to get better at. I will tell you, in the last year or so, there's been inventory issues. That's not an excuse, it's an explanation. So that's why maybe some of the things have fallen to the wayside. As far as what we're doing going forward, we have a new general manager that is really working hard to make sure that when you call to get something, that it is done. That should happen on your next service day. That's the best time to do exchanges because your carts are already out. So that's when it should happen. That's our company policy. And so we are working to get better at that. If you are having service issues, you are welcome to take my direct contact information and I can help pass that along. Other than that, I think that we are going to get better and you are going to notice that things are happening quicker and when you expect them to be done.
And feel free to call City Hall too. I mean, staff is more than happy to reach out to Republic Services and try to solve some of the issues that might happen like that where you're not getting a response from Republic Services.
And that's definitely, we want to change that going forward. So we don't like hearing that. We want to make sure our new general manager is really focused on customer service. So if those are the issues that you're having, we want to change that. We want to address that. So
I appreciate it.
yeah. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And let us know if there's issues so that we can work on them. Yes, sir.
First off, Republic is simply trying to enforce the law. You don't have a choice. You're trying to do the best you can with the law. We all understand that. So we aren't going to pick on you,
Thank you, sir.
okay? But it is going to be a problem because the state legislatures don't necessarily understand the real depth of the problem. If they'd have consulted with Republic, they might have made the law a little different. So I asked the question, if a contractor comes into my house and demos the bathrooms, who gets this, where do they take the tub and the sinks and all the tile and the mess?
There is a portion of SB 1383 that deals with construction and demolition debris. So that is something that once it comes back to our facility, that we are sorting through to make sure that any lumber that can be diverted is diverted appropriately.
Law says 65% minimum.
Yeah.
Recyclable content from any construction material. The contractors are beholden to that 65% mandate.
Where do people take their things? I noticed the non-acceptable items on your recyclable, and I know that even the trash, I don't think they're all going to end up in trash. Also in the organics where the plastics that don't fit
Right.
and the fats, oils, and grease, I assume that's not motor oil.
Correct. That would need to go to household hazardous waste. But we have a whole division. Our company separated into two pieces. One is the hauling, which is the trucks out here collecting the trash. And then we have post collections, which is what's happening with all of those materials once they come back to our facility and diverting as much as possible. Like Mike mentioned, 65% is the goal. And with this law, it goes up to 75%. So there is a whole crew that is working on diverting as much of those materials as we can.
I'll also point out that Villa Park was the first city in the 34 cities in the county to receive an A. We were the ones who complied with the greatest amount of reduction in our waste because we were using green waste, and we did it successfully.
Nice.
So we haven't gotten into trouble.
Yeah, we have high hopes for you guys with this new law. But additionally, that brings up a good point that with that green waste that you guys have been separating and using, we will be having a compost giveaway later this year. So if you need some compost for your gardens, we would love for you to come join us at Villa Park High School, and you can pick up to 60 gallons of compost that comes directly from the materials that you're putting into your brown yard waste carts.
Please skip my house because I don't want that same garbage back.
Maybe you'll take your neighbor's clean organic waste. And that I was just speaking with Councilman Wu about the date. It's I believe April is I think.
Yes, it's in the spring.
Yeah, it's in the spring,
We'll
and it'll be at
we'll
Villa
be
Park.
advertising that,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. So we're gonna finalize the date, get that out to you, so you can all make plans. I believe it's Mother's Day weekend. I'm not 100% sure, but May. Okay, so I think it is. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll get the information on our website, on
Yes.
Villa Park's website, and we'll be at Villa Park High School. Yeah. Uh-huh. As long as it's empty, so I think there's like a 10% residue on like plastics, which is fine. So as long as it's mostly empty, you're okay to recycle that. If it's a plastic like spray bottle, it would go into your green recycle. Like the bottles or. Yeah, so I would detach, if this was me, my husband is exhausted by me because I'm always like, take that off. And what I would do is I would take the hose part off, throw that into the trash, and then the actual plastic bottle, I would put that into my recycle. Yeah, I mean, that hard plastic generally is able to be reused, and a manufacturer would use that to make something new.
I mean, where is,
To our, yeah, so,
where are they sending it? How is it being sorted and where does it go?
yeah, so,
I'd like to support one of those businesses.
you know,
It's making things out of recyclable
yeah.
goods.
You have a, oh, yeah, I mean, it depends on the manufacturer, so we make them into bales, and then we sell them to manufacturers who are using them, but there's probably a little bit of both. I think a lot of our stuff goes to the Midwest, right?
We have a whole commodities trading, like a stockbroker exchange that is constantly pricing each material in each line by bale. And then our company is now invested in 4 centers throughout the U.S. to further refine plastic. So products worth more, the purer it is. So we are baling up these different types of plastics and then shipping them to Las Vegas is our center. And Las Vegas is now in the plants to further refine these into pure plastic. And we're working with the manufacturers to start making things out of these because they want to go as cheap as possible as it relates to transportation. And they're now starting to legislate plastics throughout the country. So it is what it is. But for us, we can get a better, higher use by refining that process. So we have a whole commodities trading, and be it paper. We had a whole thing called China Sword years back. China stopped taking. They were shipping all the materials over here on cargo ships, and we were shipping back some produce and trash and all of our materials. So China decided to change that policy. So we do have international markets, but a lot of the cardboards and fibers are domestic markets. But our South Coast AQMD we don't have many plants or processes here. So I don't think we have a single pulp mill in California. So, I mean, you've got to imagine.
But I think that's what I was talking about. It matters what you buy, and it matters what packaging. Just the fact that you're thinking about it, the fact that you're here talking about recycling is great. That's part of the battle, and you'll see that a lot of manufacturers are using more and more. This was made, 75% out of recycled bottles and things like that. And if you're supporting those companies, you're telling them this matters to me. So appreciate that. Yes, sir. Yes.
Years ago, we used to get a tour of that, of the processing
Yeah.
plant. Would you still allow us all to come and take a look at it?
Yes, I mean, let's do it, but it's gonna be a little bit because
Bring your nose clip.
yes, and one of those umbrella hats because there's lots of birds around, but oh yeah, we do have falcons that come to help scare away some of the birds. We had a fire last year that burnt down. We had a fire last year that burnt down our kind of tour route where we used to take people that gave you a overview of our MRF, which is where we would separate the recyclables, and that burned last year due to a who knows, battery, whatever it was. We are in the process of rebuilding that. Once that is rebuilt, then we would be welcome to have residents come and check out our process.
It's a fascinating tour, I'll tell you. It really is, to watch that place work over there and all those folks and how they sort trash and so forth. It's amazing.
There's lots of wildlife, too. Yeah. Yep, trash, yeah. Your tan carts, that is landfilled, so it goes to our facility, which is a transfer station. So it goes into a big pile, it's then loaded onto a semi, and it goes to the landfill, the Brea landfill that we talked about earlier. Yes. No, not the trash. Trash is landfilled. Yep. The recycle, there is a certain amount when before the fire, it was taken to our facility, and we had some really cool technology, optical sorters. I know Mike was talking about that with the resident earlier. That actually takes pictures of the materials as they're going through a conveyor belt. So plastics, depending on the opacity, they would be sorted in so that they're baled correctly so like laundry bottles that are, opaque would be together, and then clear plastic water bottles would be together. It was this really cool process that gets pushed down or pushed up. Same thing happens to cardboard and paper. Paper is like a puff of air would push the light paper up and pull the cardboard down. So that was kind of a cool one. And metal, we use magnets to pull the metal out of the recycle bin. And then, glass. Glass is it's a really kind of cool process. Like I said, most of the glass that comes in is broken because it's going into the truck. It's being compressed in the truck, and it's broken, and so it kind of goes up this conveyor belt and makes this really beautiful sort of like trickling sound. And as far as the yard waste is dumped at our facility and then is taken on a transfer truck, big semi truck, to our facility in Ontario to be processed into compost. So, yeah.
So if we have a shredder and we shred our important bills and utilities, and when do you put that in to put it in which can?
Nikki's laughing. Shredded paper is one of those things that is such a challenge because the need to shred is obvious because you want to shred your documents. It is challenging to recycle shredded paper because of how small it is. I would say shredded paper, honestly, the best place to use that would be your yard waste cart.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's so small. Yeah, you could dump it in there and yep. Dump it loose, and the reason the nice thing about that is that paper is going to be great at soaking up the liquids. So if you put that at the bottom, less confetti, and it'll help soak up. Yes, it'll be mush at the bottom. Has that kind of been what we've been saying, Nikki?
Yeah, well, and to go along with the confetti idea, that's why we kind of say to bag it and put it in the trash, just so that when if you had it loose in the recycle bin, it'd be flying
everywhere.
And also, if you are concerned about confidentiality, that's probably why you're shredding the document.
Maybe
go to landfill.
Yeah, trash is okay. If it's in the bag, it would need to go into the black. I know. And so that's something that is always kind of like, and we're towards the end of the thing, so I don't want you all to be exhausted. But plastic bags, the only cart that plastic bags can go in is black. Is the tan. Oh, you guys, one of these days I'm gonna get it. Tan. Trash. Plastic bags go in the trash. Yeah.
When you said about 100% cotton textile,
Yes, now it can. Yes. Are we talking like aerosol? Aerosol, hazardous waste. Yeah, it's because our trucks, I don't know if everybody knows, our trucks are a compactor basically. So they smash. So when that compressed air gets smashed, boom. Yes. Yeah, I just put it all in the garage in a big pile. My husband really enjoys, and then we take it all at once. They can, yes, they can go into the recycle because when we're using those magnets, they'll pull them out. Yeah. I'm not too far down the street, so I'm with you on them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right, and that's, I mean, so the best case scenario is that there would be enough room in your yard waste. If there's not, and you have to put them somewhere, put them in your can for the trash. What we always say is you want to divert as much as you can, but ultimately, if there's additional trash that needs to be collected, it can go into the black. Tan. My gosh, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Yes. I should just get used to saying trash, so that it's consistent. Anything else? Yes, yes.
Are there any other questions? Was this helpful?
Thank you guys so much for your thoughtful questions. Thank you for the effort that you're putting into recycling. Like we said, it does make a difference.
And please check your bill. If you have questions, call the public. Check your bill. I'll call Kate.
My card is back there, so if anybody does have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, everyone.